Hello and welcome back to The Give and Go. I'm your co-host Reynoso, here with my boy
Soltero. What's up, guys?
5 stars on Spotify, folks. Give us a like, subscribe to us on YouTube if you haven't already, and welcome to the family. We've got some exciting episodes coming up. We got a lot of football to talk about as always. I actually want to start today's episode with a little bit of a game here, a little bit of a challenge directed towards my co-host, you, Soltero.
Shit.
The stakes of this game are very high because if you complete this challenge, I'll let you off the show for a whole week.
Shit, man. I'll book a trip to Hawaii. Okay. All right.
Anywhere you like in this world, a whole week of rest if you complete this challenge. And it's actually related to your favorite team of all time, Atletico Madrid.
Oh, that's interesting.
I've been seeing TikToks. I've been seeing little challenges go around that apply this format. And I was like, hey, I might as well try this with Soltero and really test his ball knowledge when it comes to those big Atleti matches.
Shit, okay.
Are you ready for this challenge, my friend?
Realistically, no. Realistically, no. But let's get into it.
The challenge is, can you name the starting lineup of Atletico versus Real Madrid in 2014 at the 2014 Champions League final? Can you name the starting lineup of Atletico Madrid in that specific game?
2014. Okay, shit.
UEFA Champions League final against Real Madrid, which saw them lose, I believe, 2-1 in extra time.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Oh, 2014?
2014. Okay. Not the 4-1.
Yeah,
not the 4-1 finish, but the 2-1 finish instead.
2014 final. Okay. I actually think I can do this. All right.
Take as much time as you like, one by one, and I will tell you if you're correct or incorrect.
Diego Costa.
Correct.
Yep.
Got subbed off 9 minutes into the game, but he did start
really early. Yeah.
So we already got a tricky one out of the way.
I already got a tricky one out of the way. David Villa.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Subbed off at the 73rd minute. Got a yellow card in this match.
Gabi.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Juan Fran.
Yes. 4 out of 11. No X's so far.
Diego Godin.
Yes, sir. Confirmed. 5 out of 11.
Miranda.
Yes, sir. 6 out of 11.
Felipe Luis.
Yep. Okay. Whole backline complete without the goalkeeper.
Complete. I have the two. No, wait.
No goal. You haven't talked about goalkeeper yet?
I haven't talked about the goalkeeper. I said Diego Costa, David Villa. Did I say Gabi?
You said Gabi. You said Miranda, Juan Fran, Godin, and Felipe Luis. Who was their keeper?
Keeper that year was what? Courtois?
Correct.
Okay, we got Courtois. And then we have Gabi alongside Gabi, Koke.
Koke played this match, correct. Now you're just missing 2 players, but I do see them as the trickiest ones.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay. Right midfielder. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm
Take your
time. At the time, fuck. Right midfielder. This is just going to be a wild guess. I don't know if this is going to be it, but...
Okay.
Do I get...
Yeah, do you get any strikes? I'll give you one.
All right.
I'll give you one strike available to you.
That'd be nice. Okay.
Yeah, just one.
Raul Garcia.
Correct.
Let's go! Come on, baby!
That's huge. Subbed off in the 66th minute. I didn't think you were going to get that one. You got him. Garcia started this match. And who was the other player that's missing? You got the whole back line.
It would have been Arda Turan. It would have been, but unfortunately he was injured for this final, so he didn't make the starting 11. God damn. Gabi, Koke, and then blank here.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Was it really? No, it can't be.
No, it can't be. No. I don't think it can be that.
2014.
But maybe it is.
Shit, man.
But maybe it is.
This is tough. I'll just say the only name that's coming to mind right now is Thiago.
Correct. You get a whole week off, my friend. Go whole week off. Thiago Mendes.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
What the fuck?
Thiago Mendes started this match and played the entire game. Damn, dude. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of the 11 starting players got yellow cards in this match.
Yeah, it was a
That's
dirty
crazy.
It ended up being a dirty, dirty game, especially going in extra time, man. We were completely fucked at that point. It was really, really brutal.
But Thiago Mendes was the only outfield player to not get a yellow card or not get subbed off in this game. He's clean. There's nothing next to his name. It's just Thiago Mendes and his number. You got it right, dude. I'm really, really impressed.
I appreciate that.
This one was going to be tough because I thought of names like Garcia, Gabi, Mendes, names you don't really hear much about nowadays.
Yeah.
I thought they get lost in translation, but you were able to keep up with it.
Now, that team truly changed my life. Like, if I didn't remember any of those guys, I'd quit this podcast, bro. Okay. I really would have. Okay. That team meant so much to me. It was a cornerstone as far as my football development, especially, back then, 10 years ago, essentially. So that team means so much to me, and they will be forever engraved into my heart.
Now let's talk some football, bro. Let's talk some football about what happened this past weekend. I mean, I feel forced to lead the show with this specific match. Chelsea versus Manchester City. 4-4, an all-time classic in the Premier League once again. Insane matches, insane scenes, insane atmospheres that this league produces week in, week out. But I think with this match specifically, it's got to be a contender for the best game so far this year.
Oh, dude, the game was absolutely wild. So wild that Ruben Diaz makes a mistake in stoppage time.
I was wondering what you would think about that, bro, because that's so rare.
It's so rare. It's honestly a little out of character, especially knowing they have the lead. They don't have to really go for it anymore. Just see out the rest of the game. And it's a staple at this point for Manchester City. Once they get the lead late in the game, they always hold on. But a little bit of rain, a little bit of Stamford Bridge atmosphere, and I think Diaz got just a little nervy, man.
Yeah.
Because what a sloppy tackle at the end of the day, and a penalty, obviously, and that's put away by Palmer. Cole fucking Palmer,
bro. I want to focus in on Stamford Bridge specifically because I said it last year during one of our segments. The number one European stadium that I wanted to go to, and specifically in England, has always been, despite me being a Liverpool fan and how much I want to see Anfield, Stamford Bridge, to me, especially on a rainy night, has a different aura in comparison to any other stadium in the world, dude, in the world. And I was noticing at this match, they have one of the best away stands as well, dude, because when you score a goal on that end where the away end is, you get to celebrate with your team and really get that acknowledgement. Whereas in other stadiums, you got to look up into the fucking skies and hopefully see some of your fans. Right here, it's right in front of you in one corner, pinned, cheering their asses off, arguing with the Chelsea fans. It's dope how Stamford Bridge gives that opportunity to away fans when they're not technically obliged to do so. But they do, and it results in awesome, awesome scenes, such as what we saw when Rodri scored that game, what we thought was a game-winning goal to go up 4-3, slides into the corner to celebrate with the Man City fans. But like you said, ex-Man City player Cole Palmer steps up to take a massive, massive pen, and he absolutely buries it.
Oh, yeah, he buried it, but dude, when I was watching this game, I thought of that exact sentence that you said on one of the episodes before where you wanted to go see Stamford Bridge out of all of the other stadiums in the world, bro. Because, dude, you're right. For me, it's the lighting. It's like a Broadway stage production, how good the lighting is at Stamford Bridge, especially when it's like really dark outside and when you get a little bit of rain. Like, it's the perfect stage for football. And I noticed it too. I was like, oh my God, I want to be in those stands, dude. Jack Harlow was apparently there. You got to experience that. I was like, God.
He's a Chelsea fan,
apparently, man. But yeah, dude, what a game. 4-4, an immediate classic. But again, yeah, I mean, a little surprised that at the end of the day, Diaz makes just a weird mistake for Manchester City in a game that they usually see out.
Yeah.
But on the Chelsea side, from that perspective, I saw a lot of comments basically just saying that Chelsea are back. They got a really big win against Tottenham, literally within the same calendar week. And now they get a really good result against the reigning champions in Manchester City. And for me, it's kind of hard to share that sympathy with a lot of these Chelsea fans because it's like, you have $1 billion team. Like, this is, for me, this should actually be the base level for this type of squad. So, I'm not gonna share in that sentiment of like, oh, Chelsea, we're back, we're doing good. Because for me, Chelsea should be averaging 2 to 3 goals a game. When you play a team like Manchester City at home, I don't think you should expect anything other than like a draw or a win with a squad like this. Now, obviously, there's been so much turmoil within the squad, but dude, the talent that they have, bro, like, players like Raheem Sterling, you get a player like Cole Palmer, like, Enzo Fernandez, Moises Caicedo, Cucurella on the left side. Like, there's so much talent here that 4-4, you should expect this going forward, because you should be expecting performances like this when you have that type of talent. So, you know, I'm not going to say Chelsea's back or whatever, because this should be the bare fucking minimum.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what the narratives are for both teams coming out of this match. A 4-4 tie, yet Manchester City comes out kind of almost feeling like it was a loss, like they lost this match because of the standards that they have set for themselves, which is to chase a title. Dropping points like this just does not help them in any sort of way, and they ultimately felt that they could have came out as champions or winners in this game, given that they were up 4-3 with 5 minutes left to go. But for Chelsea, I mean, they're celebrating it like it's an absolute victory, bro. Absolutely. Especially because of the results they've had in recent weeks. Nicolas Jackson has finally found some sort of life within this team, being able to score some easy tap-ins but accumulate more goals. And Chelsea as a whole is working better as a unit. And I think that's the sentiment, is that they're either back or at the very least against the top teams, they've managed to perform fairly well this season, getting a good result against Tottenham, good result against Man City, and then in the opener, playing better than Liverpool at the time and tying them at home. For me, I'm still so thrown off by the ability for them to drop so low in terms of performances in any random week. I don't trust them. In a similar way to Manchester United, I just don't have that trust that I have with the elite teams in England right now. And Chelsea, despite them being able to show up and play a really good game against a strong Manchester City side, I'm scared. I could see them losing next week to whoever they face off, because that's the type of team they are. They're unpredictable and they're frustrating to support because of the high highs they can reach, but then also the lows that they're capable of in any match week.
Yeah, dude, 100%. And I think for Manchester City, what probably stung a little bit more is that they had an opportunity to gather just a little bit of a gap with Tottenham losing against Wolves in a stunning fashion, by the way. Like, holy shit. Yeah. Did you see Sarabia's goal?
Yeah. Oh that was ridiculous, dude. Ridiculous.
Yeah. One of the craziest first touches I've ever seen in stride. In stride. And then he sets it up perfectly for a little volley to put it past Vicario. Absolutely ridiculous. And honestly, Wolves had
for Wolves.
Yeah, exactly. They ended up having a crazy end of that game, scoring both goals essentially in stoppage time. So it's like ridiculous. And honestly, just unlucky for Tottenham at the end of the day. Just pure bad luck.
Yeah, dude, the injuries they have now. Madison out till December.
I saw that.
That's huge. That's massive for them. And then they also have their defenders, Van de Ven, also out for a while too. And then,
wait, really?
Yeah, Van de Ven's out for a while. And then, of course, the disciplinary issues that come for Udogie and Cristiano Romero. Things turned quickly for Tottenham in just a split second, and now they find themselves in trouble, really losing that grasp in those top elite teams. I'm curious, do you think they'll be able to hold steady up until they all come back, or is this it for their title challenge?
No, I think they still have a chance to at least keep the sweat on Manchester City. The gap's, as tight as it could be. Even with a couple of absences, I think Tottenham play a very good style of football. There's this very specific system that they play, so it's not like one or two players is going to change that. Now, the thing is, you do need these players back when you're playing against Liverpool, Manchester City, Arsenal. You need these players, because in those games, you will not win if any of them are absent. So in that regard, I think they'll struggle. But for now, as far as just keeping the pace with Manchester City, I do think they're fine.
I hope.
Again, for right now, the outlook is short term, though, for sure.
Yeah, I hope. I think instead, a team that's going to step up and put that pressure on Manchester City is going to be Liverpool, dude.
It's got to be.
Liverpool has stepped up now, despite them getting a underwhelming result last week against Luton, 1-1. Big win against Brentford, 3 at home. Classic trademark performance from Liverpool here. They're unbeatable at Anfield. It's so tough to beat at Anfield, dude. Yeah. So tough, especially when Nunez is on it, when Salah's on it,
dude,
when Jota's
Salah, man. My goodness. Had a great performance.
The way he racks up these numbers is crazy. Already on 10 goals and 4 assists for this season, despite, missing some pretty easy opportunities as well throughout this whole season.
Oh, man,
he could be on 15 goals if he wanted, but it's so easy for him. It's so typical, and he has some really good goals this game. I think it's going to be Liverpool now that steps up and puts that pressure on them, because every week they're showing that ability to challenge Manchester City, and the fact that they weren't able to get 3 points against Chelsea, I think Liverpool now has a true opportunity to consider themselves title challengers. And for me, the biggest takeaway from what I've seen from them this season is that it doesn't actually feel like Liverpool has played at a full 100% yet. A lot of these games that I've been watching, I still feel like there's more to give. I still feel like there's another level they can reach. But despite that, they're able to just get these points and to rack up enough to be able to compete for the league. We saw them lose to Toulouse in the Europa League just this weekday. Yeah. So I was so interested to see how they would bounce back from it. And they showed up in the Prem once again. I think Liverpool is now genuinely in that conversation. And I'm excited, brother. I'm excited because after the year we went through last year, I was questionable of us being able to reach this upper echelon once again. But I think truly, if the team stay focused, if the guys continue producing the way they have so far, Van Dijk looked incredible this past weekend, man. If the guys can just keep playing up at that high level, they're back in that conversation. And we're going to have another Man City, Liverpool, and then potentially Tottenham or Arsenal title challenge.
Oh, yeah, dude. The way the league is shaping up right now, like it's must-see football from the top four. Hell, even include Aston Villa.
I was going to say, should we throw in Villa at this point?
Right there, man.
I think it's the best start in their league, in their history in the Premier League so far. 25 points out of, 12 games? It's incredible, dude. Jamie Carragher said this, I think. He thinks that Emery might be a top 3 manager in the Prem right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that, especially if you... that gets tricky,
Think about it. I don't think it's true.
I don't know if it's true. It sounds like it could be true. I do get the sentiment behind saying that, but like you have Jurgen Klopp, who's had a Liverpool dynasty. You have Pep Guardiola, who's had a Manchester City dynasty, and then you have Mikel Arteta, who has turned Arsenal's fortunes around within a span of 3-4 years. That's incredible.
De Zerbi.
De Zerbi doing incredible things with Brighton. And for Emery, obviously he's turned Villa around. He's turned Villa around a lot, but it's short. Okay, you could say right now, in this very moment, sure, he's a top 3 manager, but I need to see Emery with Aston Villa for this whole full season since he joined last year.
We're seeing them produce really, really good numbers. 5th in the Prem now. And I think that's really, really impressive with what they've been able to do.
Yeah, and not only just 5th, but, dude, right there. And in my opinion, the gap isn't too big to where you can't really count Villa out as far as right now, in this moment, title contention. And that's just insane that this deep into the season, going into November, going into the national break, there's genuinely several clubs that are, right behind first place. That's honestly pretty rare. I remember last year, the start to the Premier League was so electric. But
it was.
But after October, things started to settle, and you got to see that, okay, this is going to be a 2-3 horse race maximum. But right now, there's a lot of variation, bro. There's a ton, and this might be shaping up to be one of the craziest Premier League seasons.
I hope, man. I hope. So we'll keep an eye to see how the Prem shapes up, man. But if it does deliver, then, dude, that's going to be crazy. I would love to actually plan a trip for maybe, May of next year to catch those final matches to see how it pans out and how it's decided. If the title match comes down to those last 2-3 games, that'd be ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. And to see it with the quality of teams we're seeing now,
You know who's not having a good time, though? Newcastle.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
2-0 Bournemouth, Eddie Howe's old club, and Kieran Trippier getting in a spat with,
You saw that.
A Newcastle fan. Good Lord. But, I mean, you see the performance in Champions League. We've seen the performances in the Premier League as of late. It's not surprising, but it's also not their fault, man. This is a tired team.
Dude,
this is a very tired team that also has a ton of injuries. It's not their fault. Tonali has a gambling addiction.
Injuries and addicts, bro.
So it's tough for Newcastle right now. But honestly, I don't know if I can blame anybody. It's just, I think they're thin. Yeah. They're really thin because players like Joe Wellington, players like Bruno Guimaraes, they need help, and they're not really getting it. Callum Wilson, not really doing it. Miguel Almiron getting injured. The list just keep getting bigger and bigger for Newcastle, and they don't really have help. But did you hear that they're trying to get Ruben Neves from Al Hilal?
Wait, really?
Yeah, on loan.
Oh, because aren't they under the same umbrella?
Premier League teams are trying to veto the move.
I saw that. I saw Fabrizio report that.
Yeah.
That's interesting, man.
Super interesting, because if there's a team that needs help, it is Newcastle, but it is a little weird that they could basically just get a player for free, and a good one at that.
Yeah. Is Neves spiritually free from shit? Does he have an addiction? What's the situation? I'm curious to know, because from what I've seen, Neves is a fucking baller. But if behind the scenes he's got an issue, I don't think Newcastle could do 2 addicts in a row, bro. It'd be tough, terrible for them.
That'd be tough.
Neves would be a crazy ad, though.
But that's what's crazy. That Newcastle need it because they had so much, not just faith, but energy in Sandro Tonali to be that third midfielder in every single game. And now, dude, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what do you do at that point? Newcastle are honestly in a really sticky situation. And again, it's not their fault.
Yeah, I think Newcastle and Manchester United are both teams that just trade back and forth between like who can have a worse week. And this week it's Newcastle.
This week is Newcastle.
2 weeks ago it was Man U. They just go back and forth. Now Man U's doing a lot better. They got like 2-3 Premier League wins in a row against some pretty easy teams.
Yeah, I was about to say,
for them both, they're those teams that I think we had projected would be in 5th or 6th. I just think we had them flipped, or 4th and 5th. We had them flipped. And they just they're frustrating to support because Newcastle right now, like how Kieran Trippier said to that fan, we've got injuries, mate. We got injuries. What do you have to say about that? Like, please understand our issue right now.
Yeah.
And it's tough, bro, because you could see the frustration for a player like Trippier who has to go out on the pitch and play, but knows in the back of his mind that the team isn't at full strength, and it's not showing on the pitch either, dude.
Yeah, it's not, dude. They're unrecognizable from the peaks that they reached last year, and even in moments already this year.
Yeah,
they've had a really, really bad 2 weeks, man. And I don't want to be pessimistic, but I don't see it getting better right now.
I actually want to go over to Germany. I know you're not covering this league this year, but I actually have some headlines here that we have to acknowledge. And that's easy to talk about.
Let's talk about Kane.
Yeah, let's stay within the Premier League bound and talk about an English player. Harry Kane, 17 goals. A record in the Bundesliga, by the way, after this many games played.
Yep.
And 5 assists in 11 games, dude.
5?
22 goals and assist contributions in half as many games. Ridiculous, dude. What we're seeing from Harry Kane right now, is he proving that Leva was a fucking fraud?
I think he's more so proving like how good the Prem can be. If you dominate the Prem, you can dominate anywhere. And then you add on to the fact, and it's twofold. It also proves the tools that Bayern Munich can put around you. Right, Bayern Munich are easily the most well-run club in the Bundesliga as far as consistency is concerned. So when you insert a guy like Harry Kane, who is probably one of the most lethal strikers the Premier League has ever seen, you put him into one of the best German teams currently right now, and right now that also has some of the best German talent, then you're going to get this, man. You're going to get this, and he's going to have a field day against 90% of all Bundesliga opponents.
Yeah, man. I don't have anything else to add there because you absolutely hit it on the nail. Harry Kane is just, he's here.
He's here.
And did you see that he doesn't even have an apartment there? He has a hotel.
He stays in a hotel.
It's pure business. It's business for Harry Kane, bro. This is a business trip. He's just prepping it. He's just getting ready for the Euros that are going to be happening there next year. He's just getting settled. He's going to go off in the meantime, and he's going to pursue that trophy that he's been chasing for so many years in his career, and he might finally get it with this Bayern Munich team if Bayer Leverkusen allows it, bro. Because I quickly want to highlight this. I already know your stance on this. I already know. But I just want to highlight Bayer Leverkusen a little bit more because it's important to acknowledge the teams that are doing really well. It's also important to acknowledge something that I realized this past weekend regarding this team, and it's kind of scary.
Okay.
It's kind of scary because Bayer Leverkusen has been cooking on all aspects this year, undefeated so far in all competitions. And who's that due to? Well, it's due to the amazing players they have right now. Guys like Grimaldo, who has found an incredible form in Germany right now, coming from Benfica.
It's a great pickup, though.
Yeah,
because he's been playing so well with Benfica. I'm surprised he didn't go anywhere else to be in. Like, no disrespect to Leverkusen, but great business from Leverkusen. Great business.
Granit Xhaka, coming from Arsenal, playing really well too.
Also great business.
Victor Boniface. The names go on. Even though they lost Moussa Diaby to Aston Villa, that loss hasn't been felt so far because Bayern has been so clinical. They've been scoring so many goals, and their offense is just flowing. But who is that all due to? It's Xabi Alonso. The genius of Xabi Alonso and how well he's done as a coach in his first job here in Germany. Just like doing amazing things for this team so far. What scared me, though, was realizing that it's now or never for Bayer, bro. It's now or never. Not because of the threat that Bayern Munich pose, because that's every single year. But the threat of Xabi Alonso leaving next year to go to Real Madrid. I didn't realize it, bro. I didn't realize how perfectly Xabi fits into Madrid's coaching timeline. Ancelotti said to leave at the end of the year. Who does that leave a perfect gap for? Well, it's Xabi Alonso, the Real Madrid legend, the man who played there as a midfielder for so many years, and that really reached his heights with this Real Madrid team. The timeline is too perfect. The situation is way too perfectly geared towards Xabi Alonso. And I think that Bayer Leverkusen has to win some sort of silverware. Maybe not the Bundesliga, but perhaps the Europa League, to be able to take full advantage of the fact that they have Xabi Alonso here. And they might have to have a bit of a now or never mentality. And that scares me.
That's so interesting, man. I'd never considered that at all, but it is crazy the impact that Xabi Alonso has had at Leverkusen, how quickly it has been for him, and not only that, the sustained success for Xabi Alonso. I was really curious to see if he could repeat the performances that Leverkusen were able to build in the latter half of last season, this season, and it appears that he has. I'm not watching Bundesliga famously, but that's incredible that he's been able to maintain this level of success and consistent performances for Bayer Leverkusen. And yeah, I mean, it is now or never. But are you going to put that pressure on Leverkusen? Do you want to do that? Because
I don't think I have a choice, bro. I don't think I have a choice.
So you're going all in.
I think you have to go all in. If you're a Bayer Leverkusen fan, you're watching these games with your eyes fucking peeled.
Okay.
Because you realize this is it. This is your chance.
Yeah.
Bundesliga, DFB, Pokal.
It's all there.
Europa League, it's all there. Get one trophy. You have to. This has to be the time where you do it. Because, man, I fear for what could happen to them after Xabi leaves. Few players go as well.
Yeah.
Players lose their form. Grimaldo becomes a different type of guy. Boniface goes to a bigger team. These things happen in football. It's short-lived. I think what's happening right now is truly special, and I want them to see, and I want to see them take advantage of that. So yeah, I'm gonna put that pressure, man. I'm sorry.
No, that's great. I mean, we've seen what happened with Napoli in a change of coach. Like very few personnel changed. You change the coach, everything changes. 100% if Alonso leaves, Leverkusen is not going to be the same, bro. They're not. Even if they keep every single player. What is really interesting, though, too, even beyond the Leverkusen aspect here, is Alonso going to Real Madrid.
That too.
That's crazy,
That too.
man.
I think that makes too much sense.
It makes so much sense because when you look at Madrid's squad that they have now, it really is not a rebuild squad, but it's a young squad, man, with a couple of veterans and veterans that honestly probably Alonso knows very well.
Yeah.
And I think the transition going from German success to immediate Real Madrid royalty, and not only that, but tenure as well. I think it'd be perfect for Alonso.
Yeah. I think it's perfect because so often when we see these players turn coaches start off their coaching career, they start off at like low clubs, dude. Like Steven Gerrard was in Scotland coaching, and then he tried to make a bigger move to the Premier League. Xavi was at a Qatari club.
Was in Qatar,
and then Barca took him on, and we kind of saw that. I mean, I don't think Xavi's been the greatest coach so far. I don't know if that transition has been perfect, but with Xabi Alonso, you have a proven coach now in the third best league, fourth best league, whatever you want to call it, in the world.
Yeah.
That's about as close as you can get, honestly.
Yeah.
And unless he was able to coach in the Premier League, the fact that he can go straight from Germany to La Liga, I think it's a perfectly set up transition for Real Madrid. And I think it's going to work out great if it ends up happening, personally. That's what I think.
Then in that case, I do hope it ends up happening. It would just make sense.
But it'd be nice to see that transition happen with him
with the Leverkusen title in any situation.
In any sort of facet.
That'd be, oh, man.
It'd be crazy. It'd be crazy for him to, he would become a Real Madrid legend. And we'd be like, damn, you remember Xabi Alonso's Bayer team, though?
Yeah.
They're crazy, man.
Leverkusen Europa League final?
Shit, man. That'd be crazy.
That'd be interesting.
He faces another one of his old clubs. That'd be nuts,
man.
Man, that'd be great.
I don't know. I just think.
What? what else is there?
No, I just think that both the Europa League and the Bundesliga are hard to attain.
Pokal? Bayern's out of it.
The Pokal's.
Bayern's out of it.
I don't want Leverkusen to get a Pokal, bro. No disrespect.
Dude, that golden Dortmund era of Jadon Sancho, Erling Haaland, and Who's the third player I'm missing here that's succeeding a lot right now?
What, Pulisic was a part of that?
No, there's a third bigger player.
What, Royce? He's the...
No, bro, we're missing it. There's a third big, massive player that was part of those games. It was... Holy shit, how am I blanking on this?
What, Bellingham at the time?
Bellingham. Yeah, fucking Bellingham.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Don't say his name like that.
One of the best midfielders right now.
Bellingham, Haaland, and Jadon Sancho, the most they ever achieved was a DFB Pokal. That's it. They actually won it. And there's a photo of them with a trophy, and that means something.
Okay, so you want
I'm saying
the
that
very minimum the same for Leverkusen.
I'm saying that might be enough.
Yeah. Oh,
that might be enough.
Okay, honestly, you're right. Especially considering if Alonso leaves, no way Leverkusen is lifting a Pokal after. So if you can accept, okay, yeah, I'm in. Okay. All right, I'm in.
All right, I'm just saying, man. Keep an eye on Bayer Leverkusen. Keep an eye on Harry Kane. And keep an eye on Girassi, man, who has 15 goals and 1 assist.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Have you heard of this guy?
Wow, what is he?
He's the striker for Stuttgart. He's from some random African country. I can't remember right now.
Yeah, no, I have heard of him. Wow,
he was the leading goal scorer in Europe for like the first 10 games. Mm-hmm. Harry Kane took over that now, but 15 goals so far for Stuttgart, who is actually, I think, in third place after beating Dortmund this past weekend.
Yeah.
So just thought I'd mention him.
Girassi. Wow, okay. No, never mind.
Yeah, you're researching your files right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to like think. It sounds super familiar.
Yeah, because he came out of nowhere, but I'm sure he's had some past somewhere that we need to look into a little bit more. Finally, I want to go to France real quick to acknowledge one thing and one thing only, and that's Kylian Mbappe getting a hat-trick against Reims. Hattie, bro. 3 goals in this game. Yeah, against Stade de Reims.
Damn it.
3 banging goals. The first one was absolutely incredible. This was not an easy hat trick. This wasn't a Nicholas Jackson like type of hat trick. This was a Kylian Mbappe hat trick. But what I wanted to bring up on the pod is that afterwards, Luis Enrique wasn't happy with him. He was pissed.
He's stingy.
Actually quoted saying, "Today, I am not very happy with Kylian Mbappe. I have nothing to say about the goals, but he can help the team more in another way." Following that with saying, Kylian is one of the best in the world, but we need more. We want him to do even more. So he's not satisfied. Satisfied.
I mean, if you think about it for PSG, for Enrique as a coach, you need his performances in the Champions League, right? And I kind of get it. I mean, Stade de Reims, even though they've had a good start to the season, no matter what, Reims can't win this league. It's going to be almost impossible for them. They just don't have the depth. They also don't have the full talent to go 38 games, right? So to score a hat-trick against this type of team, sure, in the moment, it's a tight game, right? So for Kylian Mbappe on the day to get a hat-trick, sure, it's special. But PSG, their whole campaign is Champions League. We haven't really seen Mbappe do this basically since the World Cup, man, in a big stage. So I can kind of get where Enrique is coming from because, like, where is this Mbappe when it really matters as far as a PSG perspective?
Yeah.
So, sure, again, getting a hat trick against Stade de Reims, amazing, but you need more.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the main storylines of the Champions League because if that Mbappe does show up in the Champions League stage, then we're seeing a title contending PSG side. Yeah, that's the capability. That's what he's able to do for a team when he's on it like this. Absolutely dominated this team and this game because of that performance. Let's see it in the UEFA Champions League. Let's see it there. I agree. I just thought it was crazy that you can score a hat trick and coach is like, I still want more.
It's a little harsh.
I thought it was a little harsh, bro.
It's a little harsh.
We're human, bro. Come on. Congratulate him first and then say that shit. Come on, man. I thought that was harsh.
Yeah, it's a little harsh. Maybe you say it like behind closed doors, not to.
Yeah, man, to the media. I found that to be really interesting, man.
Yeah, it's tough.
The talking point, though, right now in world football, I would say, in terms of games that are becoming incredibly tight, stakes that are really, really high right now, and a massive trophy on the line, has to be what's happening in Brazil right now. Brazil is seeing an insane end to their league campaign with 6 title contenders vying for the Serie A title. You have Palmeiras, you have Botafogo, you have Grêmio, you have Red Bull Bragantino, you have Atletico Mineiro, and finally Flamengo trying to grab the trophy here late into the season. One thing to point out is that we highlighted this team a few months ago, Botafogo, who had like a 13-point lead at the time and was looking really great. You have had said for years throughout my whole relationship with you, we have always said, and you have always said, that when a team gets a 10-point lead in any league, it is done. You never seen a team blow essentially a 10-point lead in the past, and that they always end up becoming champions. Well, brother, this is the first time I think in a while that we see a team actually make it really, really close going into those last final games. So my question to you is, do you still see Botafogo being able to pull it out after getting yet another tie this past weekend and essentially dropping points?
They still have a game in hand. They win that game in hand, the title's in their control. So I'm not going to say anything otherwise until they lose that lead.
Okay.
So
you're going to die on this hill.
I'm going to die on this hill, bro.
You're going to die on it.
Absolutely.
And I'll bury you on this fucking hill. Because I think, man, I hate to say it, but after watching that game against Grêmio, catching up on the Red Bull Bragantino game, I think
a late stoppage time game? A late stoppage time concession?
They were up 3-1 at Grêmio and then conceded 3 goals in a row, bro.
Yeah, they got a little leaky at the end of the season.
but I think I associate that to a mental aspect. I think the pressure's getting them.
No, it absolutely is, bro.
And I think
it absolutely is.
But I think the perspective of we had a 13-point lead. I think it was like 16 at one point. Mm-hmm. I think that's fucking with a team here that's vying for the first trophy in 25 years.
Oh, it is.
Whereas if it was a Palmeiras side, was a more experienced side, it probably wouldn't bother them as much. And I do think that factor is going to play a big role, and it has me thinking that they might end up bottling the league here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, to be very, very real here, if Botafogo do not win this title, this, in all of world football, probably might be the biggest bottle job. Truly, truly. And I don't want to put that on Botafogo's club name. I don't want to put that on them. But if they don't win the league, it will be the biggest bottle job in all of world football this season.
Yeah, because I just can't think of a team that had a bigger lead in their league in recent memory, man.
And when they had that lead, they still had games in hand, too. Uh-huh. It could have been even bigger, and they still haven't been able to capitalize on it. So this would be truly, truly crazy. But, yeah, I mean, as far as, like, what I believe in, sure, I'm going to stick behind it until they lose this lead.
In terms of what I want Botafogo. Mm-hmm. I still root for them every single game. But in terms of what I think will happen, I think Enrique is going to lift up a Brasileirão here, bro. I think he's going to lift it up heading into his time at Real Madrid, and it's going to look beautiful. The pictures are going to be incredible. They're going to go down in Brazilian history. He's going to become a legend. He's already going to start that path towards becoming the next fucking Pelé if he wants to. I think that's what we're going to see, because this is how the table stands right now at the time of this podcast. Palmeiras in first place with 34 games, 62 points. Mm-hmm. Botafogo 33 games, 60 points. They win, they go up a point.
Right.
Grêmio 34 games, 59 points. Red Bull 33 games, 59 points. So they're actually the ones closest to Botafogo right now, because they also have a game in hand. They win. They're only a point behind Botafogo, assuming Botafogo wins. I know it might get confusing. Keep up with me, folks. Atletico Mineiro, 34 games, 57 points. And then Flamengo, 33 games, 57 points. It's very close.
Either way.
It's very close.
Yeah. Regardless of the Botafogo situation, this has to be one of the craziest finishes in the Brasileirão for like the last decade, bro. Because I always try to follow this league, at least from a points perspective, and it's always either a 1 or 2 horse race.
Yeah, it's almost always, and it gets decided pretty early, man.
Man. Like going in the last 2 months of the season, it's and I mean like truly over, like mathematically.
Yeah.
But for the first time, like you said, what 5, 6 teams in contention? Ridiculous.
Yeah. Of these 6 teams, I mean, there's some really interesting storylines here for. Like, if they end up lifting the title, Palmeiras, it's Enrique and the rest of that team that wasn't able to succeed in Copa Libertadores. They still get a trophy here to assert their dominance in Brazil. Botafogo, we already talked about it, 25 years without a title. This would be massive for them. Grêmio with Luis Suarez lifting the title would be insane. He actually gets them some silverware. Red Bull, I've never seen them win a title.
I was just going to say, the craziest story probably would be Bragantino winning it, because I've never heard the word Bragantino and Serie A Campeonato Brasileirão title in the same fucking sentence. So that would be insane if they were even to get something close to it.
And then Atletico Mineiro with guys like Hulk on this team winning a trophy, and then Flamengo, who we all know to also be paired up with Palmeiras as one of the most dominant Brazilian teams in recent memory, being able to nab another trophy. There's a lot at stake here, man. Keep an eye on Brazil if you haven't already. 4 to 5 games left for these teams in this league. It's going to get chaotic. It's going to get crazy. and it's probably going to come down to the last game. MLS playoffs, baby. MLS playoffs are finally getting serious here. The stakes are getting high. We have the quarterfinal set, or what they like to call the conference semifinals set now taking place. These are the matchups. You have Cincinnati facing off against Philadelphia. Oof, two heavyweights here going at it. Seattle Sounders versus LAFC. Oof, two teams with history, winning titles in recent memory. Houston against Sporting Kansas City.
Yes, sir.
Come on now, let's give them a shot. Orlando City and Columbus Crew to finalize these 4 matchups. But so far, our predictions looking pretty good, with mine being that a team from Ohio would win it. Cincinnati and Columbus Crew both involved. And then for you, of the 3 teams you nominated as potential champions, only one got knocked out in Nashville. So looking good so far.
Houston, Sporting Kansas City, I think it's going to be a crazy game. Sporting Kansas City, obviously knocking out the number 1 seed in St. Louis City. And what was a really crazy season for their debut in the MLS. Ended in, I would say, pretty disappointing terms, unfortunately, but they lost against a very good and offensive Sporting KC side. Houston had to go to penalties twice against Real Salt Lake, lost the first time, won the one that mattered, and they find themselves at home in Houston hosting Sporting KC. This is going to be a tricky one. This is going to be a really tricky one because Houston have a very fantastic midfield, but not much of an offensive line that can really hurt a lot of teams. Whereas for Sporting KC, it's almost the opposite. They have a decent midfield, but a very good and deadly offensive line. I think this game is truly 50-50. I'm going to go ahead and give it to Houston because they're at home. And just because, I got to represent Houston in some aspects. So I'm going Houston in this one. For the other Western Conference game, LAFC against Seattle. This one's actually in Seattle. And Seattle got a good win against FC Dallas. But here's the thing. FC Dallas are missing their 2 star players, Jesus Ferreira and Alan Velasco. And they were only able to win 1-0. It was a great win for Seattle. I just do wonder if LAFC is going to push them a little bit harder. And I think they will. I think they will. But what's crazy is that Seattle's so well-rounded, and they don't really get nervous in these situations where they make a deep playoff run. Yeah. This one's also just up in the air, man.
They got a good fan base, too, man. They show up for these games.
They really do. Yeah. And here's what's crazy. I think Seattle are going to win. Yeah. I think Seattle are going to win. Okay. So right now, Western Conference, Houston, Seattle, conference final.
Okay. I'm actually flipped here, funny enough, because I remember when we spoke about Houston coming off of the U.S. Open Cup victory, we spoke about how far do we see them going in the MLS playoffs, and we both agreed that quarterfinals would be their limit. I'm going to stick to that. And I'm going to go Kansas City wins that matchup. And then on the other side, I think LAFC can counter everything that Seattle has to offer, because now it's an LAFC that's won a title. It's an LAFC that is very motivated, that wasn't able to really thrive in the Leagues Cup, wasn't able to thrive in the U.S. Open Cup either. This is where they're meant and supposed to shine. I think the pressure is on for them, and I think the fact that Seattle is at home will play a bit of a factor, but the way I'm seeing LAFC right now, especially winning their matchup in 2 games in that first round, they're out here to kill. They're out here to kill right now, and I think they're going to come out with a ferocity that's going to see them win this matchup.
I can easily see Sporting KC winning against Houston. My only argument for Seattle having the true edge over LAFC is the idea that this season specifically, even in CONCACAF Champions League, when LAFC play against a pretty good, solid defensive team, kind of run out of ideas. And I think Seattle's that team to really pose a defensive block against LAFC. And then from there, LAFC just kind of rely on Joao Paulo, Jordan Morris to kind of just get that lone goal. It's worked this season for Seattle. Not only that, it's worked for them in the past. I could see it working in Seattle once again. If this game was in LA, I'd probably be flipping this, but I'm going to stick by the Seattle one.
Cincinnati, Philadelphia is almost like a finals preview here, man. With the quality of both these teams, they absolutely killed their opponents in the first round of this playoff tournament. Cincinnati's hosting this game, though. And I think this one does come down to who's hosting it. And the fact that Cincinnati has that advantage, I think they're going to cook.
Yeah,
I think they're going to cook. Luciano Costa, Brandon Vasquez, they're all looking great, on good form right now. And as good as Philadelphia has been, I think Cincinnati wants more than just a quarterfinals appearance here, conference semifinals appearance here. I want to see them in the conference finals, and I want to see them vying for a title because I do think they have that potential. So I'm going to go Cincinnati on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to have to join you there. The analysis for Cincinnati and Philadelphia has not changed over the last couple of months. Cincinnati, I think, have the most dynamic offense in the entire league. Couple that with being at home for this conference semifinal, I think is going to push them through to that conference final. Philadelphia have been so good, and they're so well organized, so well run. But even in these big matches, and even in the big matches in the League's Cup, they have moments of just being a little slow, or being a little maybe boring, or just not quite as dynamic. And I think in a cutthroat one-off game, I think that type of style of play only favors Cincinnati. So yeah, I'm going to join you there, Cincinnati to the conference final.
Yeah. And then finally, Orlando City against Columbus Crew. I know I said that either Columbus Crew or Cincinnati would be in that final or win the trophy, but I did not expect this feisty-ass Orlando City team to show up and host this match, coming off of shutting out Nashville SC, bro.
Yeah.
A team that has Hani Mukhtar, the MLS MVP at one point, on this squad. A team that is so well known for their offense and the ability that they have to impose themselves on a team. They were able to shut them down, while in the meantime, Columbus Crew won their matches, got pushed to 3 games, but conceded 4 goals in the last 2 matches. I think that defense of Orlando City, mixed in with the fact that they're going to be hosting this game, actually has me going Orlando City. For as much as I love Columbus Crew, I think Orlando City will find a way to win this match, coming off of just such a massive upset and massive result.
This one I truly do have flipped. I think Columbus's offense is just a little bit more fluid than Orlando's. But you're right. Orlando have found really good defensive form going into this game. And I think it's going to make it a lot tighter than I initially expected. But I just think this is interesting because the Columbus Crew definitely are leaking goals right now. But I think on a one-off game, it's okay. I think maybe they win 3-2 or 4-2 like they did against Atlanta. I just see Columbus scoring just a little bit more than Orlando, and in a one-off game, that's all you need. Yeah. So I actually have Columbus going to the conference final against Cincinnati, which is good for you.
You want to bet on it?
I'll put $5 on it.
$5. Orlando wins.
All right.
$5 Orlando, $5 Columbus. Let's see it, man. I think it's a win-win situation because if Columbus goes through, then I'm happy. But if they don't, then my prediction's right.
There you go.
Yeah, win-win situation, man. That's the key to life.
You win $5.
$5.
And to just stick around in American soccer a little bit longer, I do want to congratulate the Phoenix Rising for winning their first USL Championship title in their club's history. I actually caught the game. It was Charleston Battery hosting Phoenix Rising, and honestly, what was a really, really tight game. The game ended up going to penalties. Charleston Battery were hosting the game, and they went up 2-0 on pens. 2-0 after 2.
That's impossible.
I thought it was done.
No way.
Phoenix flipped it. Charleston Battery got a little nervous at the end. Some really good saves from the Phoenix Rising keeper at the end of the day.
Wow.
And Phoenix Rising end up lifting their first title in their club's history. And what's crazy, bro, is that, just a little fun fact, I saw Phoenix Rising play a title, like 4 or 5 years ago? And Didier Drogba was a part of that team.
Oh, yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was a part of that team.
Wow.
But they lost that game.
Yeah.
What's crazy about Phoenix is they've been pretty decent in the regular season for the last 7 years. Maybe they missed a couple of playoffs in between then, but they finally went to the final this year and actually won it, winning their first title. But beyond that, every single game that they won in the playoffs this year was on the road. Every single one.
Good Lord.
So yeah, they completely deserved it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, just once again, congratulations to Phoenix Rising. But just one last take I have on the game itself was, the USL, which covers the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th division of U.S. football, is in such an interesting position to lead the lower division of football forward in the States specifically. Because when you look at the MLS obviously try to go for the big markets, which makes sense. It's the premier football division in the States, so why wouldn't you? But the USL actually has an unlimited amount of locations that they can put a franchise in.
Yeah.
Every year, there's 2 new expansion teams. Every single year. And since they only focus on the small markets, bro, you can go anywhere. I think they just announced they're going to put a team in Des Moines, Iowa.
Wow.
And they're trying to bring football soccer to New Orleans, Louisiana.
Wow.
Bro. There's not a single soccer team in Louisiana, but the USL is going to do it by 2025. And you could extrapolate this for the next 10, 20 years. Dude, it's kind of interesting looking at what the USL is right now because, I mean, looking at the game of this final in Charleston, South Carolina, it's like peeking into the past of U.S. soccer. It was like looking at the game of what the game looked like in the 80s.
Yeah.
And so if you imagine that, dude, the USL is, at least for now, on the trajectory to be a huge second division league maybe in the next 30 years. It's going to take some time for sure, but just the way they're organized, the amount of teams that they have, and again, the unlimited exposure and locations that they can populate themselves in, the USL is in such an interesting position to just grow the minor league portion of the game within this huge country of the United States. They get a little bit more money over these next 10, 20 years, man. I think they'll be able to like really tap into the good Caribbean and Central American talent and bring them here to the second division of the United States. And then from there, you have a perfect funnel into the MLS. Yeah. And by then, the MLS is going to be so big. Like, it's just crazy because the MLS and the USL are separate. And it's kind of cool that they are separate entities because the MLS gets to focus on the top premier division of football in the States, whereas the USL gets to focus on everything else. Mm-hmm. And it's so interesting, man. So just, again, keep an eye on the USL. I'm not saying anything big happens soon, but they've really put themselves to be successful in the long run, in my opinion. No, man,
we've seen that immediate impact just this month with our hometown, Sherman, Texas, receiving a USL team. Texoma FC is coming to the Texoma region. And I've always felt like where we came from was such a small place that it would never truly get acknowledged like that. But we could be talking about a USL team in nearly every county in the USA, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
And like that's just a crazy like virus of football going all around the states that ends up extrapolating and taking in this incredible talent such as myself that was never truly discovered because there was no USL team in our goddamn region.
Exactly.
Man. So I wasn't able to be a part of these incredible MLS sides because we didn't have a USL team, bro. As you, bro. Maybe you could have made us like a third division left back or something,
Absolutely.
Man. But now our kids, the kids of the future, will be able to have that opportunity because of what the USL is doing. So, yeah, man, we're seeing it firsthand with Texoma FC. Shout out to them.
Shout out.
But I think it represents, in a more broad scope, what's going on in this specific league and what they're trying to achieve, ultimately helping out U.S. football in general just push itself forward. Incredible stuff.